Welcome back to my channel, In-Flight Music. If you're new here, my name is Ian, and today we're covering Ample Sounds Ample Guitar Semi-Hollow. So if you guys don't know, I do a Q&A every Sunday at 1 p.m. inside of Another Monster Productions Discord. I'll leave a link down below if you guys want to hop in there. One of the questions that we got was Illenium style guitars, and I personally have been getting really deep into future bass, and I'm specifically a huge Illenium fan, but I also do a lot of trap beats too. So I've been looking for guitars for Rod Wave and Roddy Ricch type beats as well. This guitar right here has a tone that really works well for trap beats, future bass, those Illenium style guitars. The reason being, it has a really clean tone. So that's just the default setting. I haven't changed anything. That's just how it sounds right out the box. So a lot of the guitars that you're hearing have this clean sort of tone. The semi-hollow is perfect for that. Overall, you'll find that you're really looking for jazz guitars. In one of my previous live sessions, I actually showed a free jazz guitar, which is inside of the contact player. But this just blows it out of the water just with its stock sound. But before we get into the details here, let's just look at some of these presets, and you'll see that in the categories, it says jazz, blues. Let's just go ahead and filter this, and you'll see that most of these say jazz. And that's the style of guitar that you're really going for those smooth sounds, clean tones. However, this is capable of some really rugged stuff too. So for example, let's go to distortion, and here is Night Train from Guns N' Roses. Here's another one called Karma from Foreplay. And then right back to our clean jazz sounds. Now, I know for a fact this isn't the guitar that Illenium uses, but you could hear that those tones are very similar, and you could absolutely achieve his sound with this guitar. And when I compare them to the other guitars that Ample Sound provides, there are a handful of other ones where you can get those clean sounds, and that's mainly because of the update that they made to these Ample guitars. So in a previous tutorial, I went over a free Ample guitar, which is Ample Guitar M2 Lite. So this is the free version, but you can see that it's version 2. There isn't a version 3 of Ample Guitar Lite. Maybe that will come in the future, but you can see that this is heavily limited compared to the full version or the paid version of Ample Guitar. Right here where it says finger, you only have this finger option. You don't have a strumming option or anything like that. You do have this strummer though, and you also have these tabs. They also have this effects section, but all of this has been updated in a way that just blows this completely out of the water. So if we go to version 3 of Ample guitars, you can see that it's just a cleaner layout overall. And here you can see they had the strum option as well. And they've added this Riffer section. I think they call this Riffer 2.0. And to get you started, they actually have quite a few presets here for you as well. So if you click here, go to load, you'll have all these different folders. And inside of each folder, you have all kinds of riffs for different genres. R&B, blues, pop, we even have metal, which makes sense for the tones that we're able to achieve with this plugin. And just like in my Easy Bass tutorial, this is actually really easy to work with. I'll link the Easy Bass tutorial down in the description below. But if you just click on any of these notes, just like in Easy Bass, it's super simple to switch the articulation of that note. So right now it's on palm mute. You could switch it to sustain, natural harmonic, slide in. You could change the legato slide, hammer on, pull off, slide out, quarter slide out, eighth slide out. So there's a lot of articulation that you could get within here. Not to mention, you could even add effects. So if we just randomly click here, we have a downstroke noise, but you also have scratches, slaps, a silent press, silent stroke, downstroke noise 1, upstroke noise 1, and then an additional version of each of those and a pick scrape. And below that, we have strum. And it literally just makes a strum for you. So this is super, super easy to work with. You don't get any of that inside of the free version of Ample Guitar. Maybe in Ample Guitar 3, if they make a free version of that, we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the next section, which is tabs. I don't play guitar, so for those of you who do play guitar or are into guitar tabs at all, you can download guitar tabs and just drag them right into this guitar player, and it will play these tabs for you. Super simple, super easy. Then you have an updated effects section. So this is where we're getting all these crazy tones from really clean to really distorted. And once again, this isn't available in the free version. If we go to presets, you'll have these different folders and all kinds of different presets for these different amps that we have. Huge variety of tones there. And then you also have this mic and cabinet section. So you can change the different mics here. They have a few dynamics, a few condensers, and a couple ribbon mics. So they have an example of a Neumann U87 right here, which is one of the premier mics in the world. They also have your go-to, the Shure SM57, a few other ones that I recognize. Then you have your room, direct in, those can't be changed, but you can change your cabinet here. And they all produce different tones, different textures. So definitely dive into that. Here in the effects section, you have an EQ that pops up right away. Here's a compressor. This isn't a compression tutorial, so I'm not gonna go over that. Stereo delay and a convolution reverb. So this uses impulse responses for its reverb. So it's a really realistic sounding reverb in terms of capturing the space that the guitar is in. Yeah, 4 different room sizes, and then your usual parameters with the size of the room, pre-delay, and a little filtering with bass and EQ. Next, you have your settings. I'm not going to really get into that. I leave that completely alone. Next to that, you can actually change the individual notes here. So you could go in here and change the tuning, change the gain of specific notes, the velocity, so on and so forth. I forgot to mention that just like in the effects section with the amps and the cabinets and whatnot, you also have presets for the effects as well. The thing that this plugin has in common with the free version is this Strum Tool. So let's go ahead and just play this real quick. So here in the strum section, you can strum up, strum down. You have a couple different types of mutes, down bass, down treble, and up. Here you can change into different strumming patterns right here. You have up to 8. And then here is where you change what chord it's going to strum. So right now we're on C major. Let's move to D minor. Let's move to E minor. And so on and so forth. So you would basically just make your chord progression here, and then you would make strum pattern right here. You have control over the swing and quantization and the time signature right here. You also have control over the overall humanization right here with your strum timing, release, stroke volume, so on and so forth. Let's take a listen to what this actually does. You can hear the difference in the stroke volume there. This is overall humanization in terms of timing of the strokes, separation. So this alters the timing of the chords without altering the timing of the strum, and then we have velocity. That velocity definitely adds a lot of humanization to that. So now we're back on the main menu, and this is where you can manipulate the guitar itself. Starting on the left, right now we're set to sustain mode. So we're able to sustain our notes. You could switch to our natural harmonic right here and we'll get all harmonic tones. Yeah, palm mute. Slide in, slide out. Legato slide. And hammer on, pull off. There's also a nice little trick where you can activate the palm mute and the sustain at the same time. You have to do that with your MIDI controller. Just hit the first note and the third note on your MIDI controller. So you got to go down to your 0 octave here. And by hitting both of those at the same time, you activate both at the same time. So now, depending on your velocity, it'll palm mute for you. And then if you go normal velocity, it'll sustain it. And then you can add in harmonics with your keyboard playing too. Right now it's on pop, so when you hit the note really hard, it'll pop the string. But if you switch it to this, it'll pinch it instead, which basically makes the harmonic, which is this right here instead. So now we have 3 levels of articulation. The bottom being mute, the middle level being sustain, and the highest level being harmonic. So a lot of articulation that you could do with just your hands and your keyboard. Here you have the sound module. You go with stereo or direct in. Here's your leveling for direct in, stereo, and the master. Panning, the doubler. You can turn this on, turn this up. Nice stereo image there. You have the capo, which is basically a transpose function. If you're not familiar with what a capo is on a guitar, it'll transpose your entire guitar for you, and you could still play the same hand positions, just in different spots on the guitar. So now we're 2 semitones higher than what we were playing before. This is a great time to point out that this is only covering 5 frets of this guitar when we're playing in this section right here. One of the things that brought me to Ample Sound and Ample Guitar is because of its ability to play like a real guitar versus other guitar programs where they play like a piano or a keyboard. They go out of their way to make sure that this sounds more like a realistic guitar. And this is one of those features that does that by keeping all the playing in the position that you would normally play it. Ample Guitar will actually set the range for you as you're playing to make sure that you're playing the chords and the notes that a guitarist would normally play. And when you do that, it extends it up to 2 octaves of playability. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the difference. One thing that you'll notice right away is a difference in tone. This is melodic mode. And let's switch to chord mode. It gets brighter, right? You hear how it's brighter? And you get more mellow. I really like where I put those harmonics and those mutes, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, moving on. So we have release settings, your effects level, and your fret release. Then right here, once again, this is a testament to Ample Sound and their guitars. This is how you switch from guitar mode to keyboard mode or to solo mode. So when it's on keyboard mode like this, I can play multiple notes on the same string, which makes zero sense. So you can see that this note is being triggered on the same string right here and right here. You can't do that in real life with a guitar. So if we switch back to guitar mode, it's not going to play that additional note up there. Or if it does, it won't play the other note. So it intelligently helps you out in terms of what notes you want to play and what notes you shouldn't play. This lets you play the open string if it's available. So you can see with this chord, it's playing these two open strings, meaning that you're not holding down any of these sections inside of the frets of the string. You're literally just plucking the string. Versus two different tones, two different sound qualities for sure. So here's our legato, and we have three different modes. Right now we have legato turned off. So this is hammer on and pull off, which is the same as this symbol right here. So you'll hear smoother transitions between notes instead of just a brand new note. And then you have actual legato. It'll do a lot more sliding than the hammer on pull off. And last but not least, you have stroke noise, which I honestly just keep on. I wouldn't ever turn that off. You can also make stroke noise with your keyboard. That's the great thing about Ample guitars. They all have this keyboard layout where you can trigger the different articulations here. You could trigger different sounds, different mutes. So yeah, when it comes to guitar plugins, I think that this is by far the most capable guitar plugin that you're ever going to find. I think I may do a series on a small handful of Ample guitars that fit into the genres that I know a lot of you guys work in. There's some guitars that they have that definitely work in multiple genres, and I would love to show you guys how to manipulate those to fit inside of EDM or trap or so on and so forth. But until then, if you have any questions, definitely comment down below, subscribe and like if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.